No, I'm just tired today.
No. I fell asleep for an hour and a half on the couch today.
Man, I wish I could have.
Yeah. It was hardcore. I had to after work. Then I had to get up and rush around and come to get all this prepped.
I took a nice nap for about an hour right here in this chair. It was fantastic.
I've been cleaning all day.
It reclines really far. It's nice.
Nice. I should give me one of those. All right, sorry.
Just old men talking about
yeah,
shit.
comfy chairs.
Welcome to Dungeon Brew.
Welcome back, everybody, to Dungeon Brew. We are on the 3rd episode of the 9th Ascension, continuing our journey with our heroes, if we can call them such things, as they try to fend off the Vucari, who are soon going to be invading 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤, as well as trying to gather the items from the 9th Council in order to create the book, the 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤. It has been an interesting series of events in our last game. They went off and battled the Green Dragon. They were successful in retrieving the quill and returning it to the Carrion Council. And I believe that we are actually starting here at the final moments of wrapping up the conversation with the Carrion Council. I know that there was a message sent ahead from Sir Mihail to Dorothy saying that he wanted to speak with him when he got back. But I'm going to turn it over to you guys in terms of how you want to finish out the night. Any final conversations, moving to lodgings, checking out your workspaces, or having any chats with the people here within the 9th Council.
So I think that the big thing that Dawn would like to know is I think that the council had intimated that they had specifics about the documents. Is this something that they have available written up, or are they sending somebody to assist me tomorrow so that I can begin that process of creating duplicates? What exactly is at my disposal for that aspect?
So I think the question is, honestly, how you want to proceed. They do know some details about each one of the documents that were taken. I think I provided you guys the very long-formed names of those in the previous episode. But essentially, there's Marhina's Chronicle, there's Magic Lore, and there's the 𝐸𝐤𝐤𝐤 Codex. It's if you're wanting to try to recreate those, or if you're wanting to shuffle through some of the duplicated manuscripts of other types to offer, or to even try to swap out with the old ones. It depends on, I guess, on how you're wanting to try to...
My understanding is we were doing both to a certain degree. Like, I am creating duplicates to swap those out, but at the same time our inn, I think, is going to be trying to provide an additional document. So basically, like, oh, you have all of these jewels in gold, but you don't have this jewel. Can I come in the room and sit it down beside your other valuables? And when they do, we do a swapperoo, a switcheroo. And that was my understanding of our basic plan. Does that sound correct?
Yep, pulling Indiana Jones.
Exactly. So I do still want to create replicas of the documents that they have, and then I will go ahead and grab another one that I currently have.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. I would say that you could probably bring in Dragoslav to help you in that process. He's going to know quite a bit about it, or Dorothy. Either one of them can. Yeah, there's of course also other folks that work with you in the library that could assist you as well. I don't have them named, but you have a number of different minions, so to speak, that can aid you in duplicating.
Whichever one of them has the time, they can be at my house or at the library bright and early to begin the process.
All right, sounds good. I imagine it's going to be Dorothy.
Okay.
The only thing I think really that Zircon's going to want to do is head back to his temple and just take stock of what actually was taken. As far as relics goes, if anything was. And then possibly start looking around for things that may or may not benefit us in our current struggles. Specifically items that would benefit us but are maybe out of the way and not typically in a direct, line of sight as you walk in the door or the hallways or that kind of thing. if there's any such items.
Are you wanting to do that this evening now that night is kind of falling, or is that how you're spending your day tomorrow?
No, this evening.
Okay.
I imagine tomorrow. I guess we have a day before the celebration, right?
Yeah, that's why I guess it's also good to know what everyone's doing in their day tomorrow. It sounds like.
Yeah, so I'll do some reconnaissance then, and then if 𝐸 can offer any assistance to Dawn, I mean, I doubt there's any, but if there is any.
Okay, yeah, that would work out well.
Unless you know of any of your magical items that would in some way benefit us in any of these aspects, that's the only thing I could think of.
I don't know, is there?
There's, of course, the 𝐮𝐲𝐸𝐞 cloth that is infused with magic, the Black Dragon, that gives you extra mana. So if you wanted to utilize extra mana throughout the day, whether you're using air or sky magic to try to maybe duplicate things or trying to weave magic in some way to help you expedite the process, John, that might be your best bet, is to drink from that in order to have extra mana to be able to utilize to speed up the process of duplicating manuscripts.
When we get extra mana, does that cause aging still?
It does, yes.
Okay.
Wasn't there an item that
gain it back?
Yeah. Wasn't there an item in there that did a specific element that didn't cost mana?
There is the self-swinging blade that you can utilize that does not use mana to use. And then there's, you guys also have an option for an item that increases your strength and another that increases your con.
Yeah, I seem to recall.
I thought you said there was something that allowed them to use like their, almost like their cantrips at 0.
Yeah, there was like sky magic or something else that was like it didn't cost anything.
Yes, that's actually the same thing that increases your con. It does both those things.
Oh.
So it increases your con, and then it also allows you to use sky magic cantrips without any cost.
I see.
What item was that?
That is Submerged Gaze.
Is it like a monocle?
𝐸𝐤𝐤. Huh?
Is it like a monocle or something?
No, it's actually a gemstone that you just carry in your pocket.
And what was the one that increased your strength?
That one is 𝐃𝐨𝐬�'s guards. They're wrist guards that you wear. And adds a 4 to your strength.
I don't know if that does a lot in this game.
For me, it does.
Yeah, it does for it does for Aarodemir.
And are people going to recognize those really easily, or
if you wear them in layer high, they would recognize them? Yeah.
Is there a way to disguise them?
I think it's a thing you're gonna have to carry in a pack and put on when you're not.
But they're cuffs, like
they're wrist guards. Yeah, I guess you could probably wear them and put
a coat, wear a long sleeve shirt
over it. Yeah,
wear them over my ankles.
Puts them on your thighs.
Wear one of those hoodies that have like
a garter,
the thumb things that cover half your hand. Yeah, it'll be fine.
All right, so it sounds like Don might be heading up and just kind of going by the library and going and checking on need and then finding his own chambers. It sounds like 𝐸 might kind of just like look into the Ferrettery and then primarily do his work in his inventory tomorrow, then help out Don as needed. What is your plan, Sir Mihail?
I believe I need to speak with Dorothy tonight, and then I'll probably spend the next day with the soldiers.
Yeah, you'd also sent a missive to the Surtur.
Right, which I would probably meet with him.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Okay, so spending time with your soldiers, meeting with the Surtur, speaking with Dorothy tonight. And I believe that you had also sent one of your voivodes, Jarek, out to go scouting. You told him to gather 7 men and go scouting to the northeast and look for encampments along the coast. But primarily I just wanted to let you know that he is out of town because he took the soldiers, like you said, to go scout.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, and then Aarodemir, anything that you have planned specifically for the morrow or for the evening?
I don't know if no one's asked me for help, and so I don't know that I have any specific duties. So, I mean, I might go have a few drinks tonight, build myself some likeness of a dragon, smash it up, so I can feel like I've actually.
Morning.
I can what?
Help me train soldiers in the morning.
Sure. Can I have him wear a dragon head so I can feel like I'm actually fighting a dragon?
I don't know.
All right.
Dragoslav will ask of you, Eredmir, that come morning, letting you know they have your payment. If you need to take any portion of it to buy anything in addition. But he and a couple of the other council members wanted to speak with you tomorrow morning as well.
All right.
But after that, you could spend time with Sir Caligula in the courtyard.
This better not be about my underperformance against the Green Dragon.
We didn't tell him anything.
I think that we actually told them we killed it. I don't think that they know.
You did. 𝐸⁴ was like, we just engaged in battle, or we just been killing dragons all night or something. And I was like, yeah, just kill anything.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
They don't know that.
Great.
All right, so night has fallen then over 𝐸𝐴𝐻𝐼NE, and you are all able to move off in your different directions to kind of check things out. I think that we will start with each of you fanning out of the council hall, out of the primary hall here, save Sir Mihail and Dorothy remaining to have this conversation before the evening ends. So as the council members exit, as well as the rest of your party members, Sir Mihail, you are left alone with your father. So Jarek had come and said that you were off doing something that was more important than speaking to me. Seemed to be pretty worried about your activities. But I knew what you were off doing, so I wasn't too concerned.
It's unfortunate. I had higher hopes for Jarek. Figured he would know if I had more important things, that he would be in on it if he needed to be. Didn't see him to disrespect his betters like that. I'll deal with him later. We need to speak about the 𝐸𝐴𝐤 and their plan to attack after the festival and the solstice.
Indeed, them coming this early is gravely concerning, especially now that you all have gone out and attacked them, yes? If you've slaughtered some of their own, it's either going to stall them, but it may also push them up to attack sooner than we expected.
That is a possibility. I left some guards in the cave where the 𝐸𝐴𝐤 had set up camp. That way, if any other scouts or soldiers had moved in, we would have word of it. And I've sent scouts out this evening to search the coast for any advanced boats coming forward.
How many of your guard did you leave there, son?
2 or 3? It was just a couple.
Well, perhaps that is why I saw Sir Goran leaving with nearly half of his army this morning. There was rumor that the Serdar received word to send out men to guard at the crossroads. I assume that came through you, but Sir Goran Marinov left with nearly half his army. 20 swordsmen, 11 bowmen, and 8 axemen.
Didn't expect that kind of a response.
Well, it leaves 𝐸𝐴𝐻𝐼NE in an interesting position, as nearly half our forces are gone.
That does indeed. I did send a message to is Goran my uncle? Is that his name?
Yeah. No, Goran's not your uncle. That's another Sir who will stand
𝐸𝐴𝐤.
with you. Serdar 𝐸𝐴𝐤 is your uncle. Yeah.
Yes. I sent a message to Serdar 𝐸𝐴𝐤, explaining what we found with Domart. I assume that was his response to my letter.
Yeah, he must be gravely concerned as well in looking at the 𝐸𝐴𝐤 coming in. I'm concerned about how you might be pulled away from the task at hand with this sudden incursion at our doorstep, because your companions are going to need you as well.
Yeah. I plan on spending the next day with the soldiers and get them as prepared as I can for the fight. But come the festival, I'll have to focus with my companions on getting these manuscripts back
No, the Vicari come and they attack every year. For certain, we always seem to defeat them and beat them back. Oftentimes due to the tactitious efforts of both my brother and yourself in holding them back. I just want to make sure too thin we are not spreading ourselves.
Well, I plan on keeping the rest of my men in town over the next few days, so we have that to rely on if they do decide to attack early. I cannot say for 𝐿 cannot say his name. I cannot say what 𝐿 plan on doing.
I assume that he will work tirelessly to form a wedge between you and I, yes?
Yes, he does like to do that.
Well, what is the plan for your men? With half of the army now gone, what is your plan for the men over the next couple of days? And during the festival to come, will they be allowed to partake in the celebrations?
I haven't gotten that far yet. I might have more answers on that in the morning.
Well, keep me abreast of what is going on. I'd appreciate it, and I will let the rest of the council know. I mean, everyone here within Leerheim is battle-worthy, battle-capable, but they have celebration on their minds, not war. Not for a couple days yet.
Well, war might find us before we're ready.
Okay, well, with that, we can shift to anyone else that has anything this evening that they want to do for heading to bed.
John, did you want to try the �ฑ𝐤𝐤𝐞 cup for tomorrow?
I don't know specific. Like, I know it would add additional mana, but at the moment, I feel like a lot of what I'm doing is manual labor. Like, it's a physical thing. I don't know where the magic is necessarily going to enter into it.
I don't know. I don't know how with your magic speciality, right? So I'm just asking.
Yeah.
So if not, 𝐸 won't do anything with it.
Well, it may also be that, you know, and I know that I'm kind of throwing stuff at you. You might choose to use 𝐸𝐤𝐤𝐻 Gaze, which gives you free sky cantrips. I mean, it's a cantrip probably to use air magic to hold a pen and write over here with you, to copy things as you're writing over here and doing things, which would not cost you any mana to utilize.
Right. I don't think that he's intelligent enough for that.
You're not intelligent enough to use...
Yeah, I don't think Dawn is smart. Dawn is not smart enough to write 2 different manuscripts simultaneously. Like, that's genius level shit right there.
I mean, you got a 17 intelligence. You're not dumb.
That's got to be borderline genius.
Borderline, but that's still just like the ability. Like, think about the last time you read 2 books at the same time. With 1 eyeball each.
No.
Right.
I
just got done doing that.
Like, I don't... It seems beyond his ability to do. At least he can't do it well. Like, one of them's going to be good and the other one's just going to be like scribbles because he can't focus on it.
Hey, we don't need perfect. We just need good enough.
We need passable.
That's true.
Yeah. Not sure on that.
Okay. I just wanted to check before 𝐸 goes to bed. So.
Yeah.
Or you could be sleeping and have it be written. Just be like...
Yeah, it'll turn out about the same, I'm sure. I was sleep scribing. So Dawn is going to just check in on Need before he goes off to bed. Just kind of assume that she's probably asleep, but he'll poke his head in, make sure that the servants are not actually sleeping in bed with her, and they're not in her room, because he's very concerned about his mother's parental preferences before he heads off to bed himself.
Okay. So as you are going to check on her, the door is actually slightly ajar. There aren't any servants in her room. There are some that are moving about outside and kind of checking on her. In fact, you see one kind of peeking on her, then keep on walking as you come up.
You keep walking.
As you come to the door and kind of peek in, you do hear her whispered voice on the inside. Is that you? Have you returned home?
Why are you still awake?
I couldn't sleep until you were home. She's going to kind of pop up out of bed, and she's not going to get out of bed, but she'll look towards the door and see if you come in or not. She goes,
"Yeah, I'll go sit on the edge of the bed."
Are you okay? Where have you been? I worry about you being gone after Mama's passing.
I'm just trying to keep you safe. There's nothing you need to worry about me. We had this conversation this morning. Last night. That's all a blur.
And she's going to grin widely and say, I appreciate all you do, Papa. What are you doing tomorrow? Could we walk on the beach together?
I'm very busy with work. You're more than welcome to come and sit with me if you'd like, but I'll be quite busy, I think, for a while. Perhaps during the festival we'll have a chance to spend some time together.
Are we going to get to go to the festival? Can I come with you?
It would be nice to be able to walk and see what the crafts are like and the games are like this year. Yes?
I hear that they went hunting and caught a number of boar, and they're going to have fresh boar legs for us to eat.
Hopefully not too fresh.
I'm
Well,
glad to see you
we'll
home
spend
safe,
some
Papa.
time there, but you're more than welcome to sit with me tomorrow while I work.
I would enjoy that greatly. As much as I love Baba, she is a boar. Not the same type of boar as we're going to eat, of course, but a boar nonetheless.
It never seems like she actually has the time to spend much time with you when you stay with her.
She's quite busy, always having conversations behind closed doors, running off with new people coming in and out of the temple. I oftentimes spend my time with the servants.
How is the time with the servants?
They're fine. They take care of me, they laugh and tell jokes. Marasa is, rather funny. She spends most of the time with me. She braids my hair, just like Mama used to.
My hands were never very good at that. I think I just always made tangles.
I just appreciate that you did not cut it off.
Well,
But I will spend time with you tomorrow, Papa. I will enjoy it. I will sleep now.
good. Yeah, go get some sleep. I'll see you in the morning. It's quite late, so sleep in if you need to.
And she's going to do a little hop and a twist, pulling the covers over next to her and laying her head down as you exit the room.
I'll probably sit in there for a little bit, pat her back, make sure she's asleep before I leave.
Okay, sounds good. Now, you're still a little hurt from your journey, so you're feeling it, Dawn. You still got some cuts and bruises on you pretty significantly.
And I probably will apply one of the bandages before I head to bed.
Okay, you didn't use a bandage earlier today?
I never got a chance. And is that 2 hit points?
Yeah, the bandage will give you 2, yeah. So if you were to use one of the herb things, it would give you another 2 in the morning when you woke up. Or you could use a sweetgrass as well before going to bed, and that could give you up to 3 HP overnight.
I'll just use the bandage. I may use another one tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
I know I don't have a bandage, but I would have taken a bandage from somebody before I went to bed.
Okay, I'll hand it to you.
Yeah,
So you guys headed.
probably the same. I can't carry it. It would have broke my ankles, so I had to get it from someone.
And you headed off straight to bed, 𝐸𝐿?
Again, do the reconnaissance of the temple. Were any relics taken out of there?
There were not any relics taken out.
Okay.
It actually looks as though the Ferretary was largely untouched. However, Dawn, if you did go to your library, it is ransacked.
No, Dawn does not have the equanimity after the day that he had to deal with whatever is going on in his workspace. So he went and saw Need and then went to bed.
So we will save that for tomorrow morning then.
Yeah. It's how he wants to wake up.
But yes, the relics are all in place. You're going to find that it looks like nobody came into the Freddery.
Is there anybody in there?
You probably have a couple of folks that actually work with you in there that are just kind of meandering about and checking things, keeping inventory as they normally do. There's always somebody in there. They don't ever leave it unguarded, so to say. I mean, they're not guards, but they never leave it unattended.
So I'm going to ask, and you can tell me if you don't have it. Are any of these? I assume everybody in here is of the same
occupation,
religious fervor as 𝐸 is, or close. Mm-hmm. So what's going on with the ninth is disruptive for them as well. And are these individuals I feel like I can trust if I get caught, if we decide to go that route?
Yeah, absolutely. There's two that work with you primarily. There's 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞, that's in there that you've actually have a pretty good bond with. That's worked with you for a couple of years in that place. He's younger than you significantly, but he kind of looks up to you. And then there's also Anastasia. And she's been there about as long as you have. You guys talk sometimes, but she's pretty focused on her work.
Okay. That's it.
All right. Erdemir, anything you're doing? You're heading to the tavern and drinking?
I'm headed to the tavern. Do they have any of that fish and gravy again? He feels like he's had the day that he'd like some of that. And he wants the gravy thick. I don't know if that's a
special request.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Plus, he'd get a glass of wine.
I thought they got instructions to never make that again.
They probably still have some stock or something.
That's fair.
Actually, this evening they are doing some red deer thighs, some venison thighs, and some kale soup.
Well, that sounds delicious.
The venison thighs are covered in a red pepper sauce, served with a slab of Edam cheese.
He'll take the deer. Cooked kale just goes straight through him, and it's bad. So
It sounds really good. I actually kind of want to make some kale soup next week. Sounds good.
Yeah, they got some kale soup with stewed celery.
Yeah, it doesn't go good with him.
You lost me.
Stewed celery, huh?
So the venison thighs, of course, are 6 silver pieces, and Prodon is still working there with his wife, so he'll be quick to attend to your needs and offer you the same selection of wines or beers.
He'll have
lager,
wine.
stout. You want a wine? And are you still wanting the hazelweed? I believe that's what you got last time.
Sure.
All right. So the hazelweed wine, which is 2 copper. And the room, the place itself is actually just about to close by the time you get there. It is fairly late. So they're quick to get you the food and pull it together and serve you, but the establishment.
He'll just take his food to go.
I say the establishment is pretty much empty at this hour.
Can you just take it to go, like?
Yeah, they have styrofoam boxes.
Do they?
I don't think that they can have you go. Their plates are pretty
valuable,
stationary.
They actually serve out of a trough, so.
Can I, if I buy my own plate from him when I come for refills on food, do I get a discount? We're much more sophisticated where I'm from. All right, he'll probably scarf it down anyways. He was looking forward to the fish and gravy and a little disappointed.
I don't know that fish stays very well in this age.
I would imagine not.
Well, I mean,
look, didn't you say we don't have cows here?
You don't.
So where did they get the milk for the gravy?
It was
this cheese.
It was goat's milk.
Well, you said it was white gravy, so
we said it was water and flour. Is what we talked about before.
Oh, that's right, we did, didn't we? Okay.
Yeah.
But we have the cheese.
Really,
where are we getting the cheese
how's
from?
Gravy made?
Goat.
It's goat.
All right.
It's
The
good.
fish is usually either salted or smoked. They can keep it pretty well, but they also live right next to the ocean, so they would just fish for more fish when they need fish.
Yeah, and hope it's a Bukhari.
They would fish for yes. Yeah, that's true. Hope it's not a Bukhari.
Oh goodness. All right. All right, so everyone will be able to head off to bed. Waking in the morning with the sunrise. It is a bright and sunny day, the day before the winter solstice. Of course, we got 2 days before the solstice. God, I'm not going to do terrible with math again.
Summer solstice?
What did I say?
Winter. You keep saying winter solstice.
Am I?
I think so.
I think I'm saying summer. Summer solstice. All right.
Maybe
so,
I'm just hearing winter solstice.
Just say a solstice. It'll just...
Tomorrow
just
is
say
the celebration of Thoranden, and the day after that is the solstice. You guys have this one day. Let's go ahead and start with Erdmir. As he gets up in the morning, he was requested to come and spend time talking to a few of the council members. So, Erdmir, if you make your way back to the main hall in the council chambers, you will find Dragoslav, Serena, and Astera waiting for you to speak with you.
Okay.
And as you approach, the room's kind of falling into a hushed silence as they await you to come closer. Their expressions are betraying the gravity of the situation. The air kind of seems thick with tension. And as you come closer to them, they're going to motion for you to either sit on the steps or even sit in one of the other 2 chairs that are available at the front of the chamber. And Dragoslav will... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Aaron is going to just kind of give himself a little smell, just to make sure it's like not something he's causing.
That fish is radiating off of you.
I know.
Dragoslav Serchan will kind of nod somberly at you. Erdmir, unsettling news has surfaced, and we felt as though you were the best to speak of, being the son of the Seven, and you understanding the degree of caution at which we must function in here. We fear that one of our own might be working with the Ninth Council. Our city is close in its connections, and someone may have chosen to betray us. And Serena will nod, quickly following up behind him where we have a chance to speak. They were all somewhat close to my son, who is already separated from our order. Did you see anything while you'll be on the walls that would suggest they were nothing more than a snake in the grass? Poor leadership? Any action that would put another in danger? Secret conversations that you weren't privy to overhearing? With the hidden archives being compromised at the same moment that the 4 of you left the city, well, the pattern suggests an inside source.
Well, given that I've only met them for a brief amount of time and been around them, I can't say one way or the other that I would suspect anyone. You know, paranoia is a dangerous thing. It can lead to bad decisions.
Indeed. Wise words. Have you seen such poor decisions made from the Seven on Thunderous Moor? From your own father, perhaps, or others, as they've dealt with their own difficulties?
Well, there's always something going on where somebody is making a poor decision. I'm not aware of anything where anyone has betrayed anyone in our, from where I'm from, but I have nothing to know that I have anything to offer at this time.
I very much appreciate your forthcomingness. And this is Serena again speaking. I am filled with grief with my own son walking away, and I don't want to stir problems where there are none. And to be honest, you know, you all did come back retrieving the quill, and so that in of itself is comforting to see. But knowing what was lost, even in retrieving the quill, it wouldn't matter if that too is not brought back to us. And Astera, Serkan's mother, will say, I want you to hear us, Erdmir, that we are considering all possibilities. In a city full of magic and layered intentions, we just can't ignore that this might also involve our sons. You've been sitting here in good faith by your father, those that we have continued to keep the peace with and our alliance with for a number of years, even before the time that you were born. And so we trust that you come here with all intentions to help us secure our rightful history. But as I said, we can't ignore that our sons may too be swayed to help the Ninth.
You know, as you were speaking of this, I remember that the night before we left, we went to the tavern and two, I think, kids of the Ninth came over to harass us, and your son was present. He acted to me in an honorable way in trying to keep from fighting and that. But there was, I believe, some conversation. I'm not really familiar with all the politics, but they seemed to be hinting that something was coming and something big was going to happen. Whether that was connected to what happened or what, I don't know.
You mean to say that those of the Ninth suggested something great was going to happen, or that
yes, those of the Ninth.
Was my son acquiescing to that change coming?
No, it was something that was overheard by Caligula.
So 𝐸𝐸𝐿 said that he heard them speaking of something.
But I don't know how much details he had, or we didn't know really much, but they seemed to be hinting at something.
Again, it's gravely concerning news. To know what 𝐸𝐸𝐿 actually knew prior, or actually retrieve this information, or how 𝐸𝐿 interacted with them. And you'll have Dragoslav speak up. What of Don? What have you seen of his actions? Does he seem to be taking the efforts necessary? I mean, it was his library that was ransacked, and they found the documents that were hidden within.
Well, all I can speak of is that it was a very tough fight that we had to get the quill. And everyone pulled together and helped make sure we survived. So there was the dedication. And when we had to fight the what is it? The Bukari. What are their names? Bukari in the cave. It was dedication and trying to make sure that everything was done for your people. I did not see any ounce of betrayal or anything that seemed to be contrary to your mission.
Estera is going to sigh, like this related breath of relief. And Dragoslav will breathe in deeply, pulling at his long beard, and regretfully kind of say, well, if you notice any suspicion in their behavior, it pains us to entertain the thought. We must know. We must remain vigilant. We hate to put you in such a difficult position as you are, but we know that you're here to serve the council at the behest of your own father and not our sons directly. And so we hope that we have your loyalty in this and making sure that we see the task done, despite what type of betrayal may come through.
Well, if they betray me, the least of their concerns will probably be coming back alive. I said that right. Never mind.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's going to kind of take them back for a moment, in pausing and listening to those words. And Dragoslav will say, well, we'd ask you to give them trial with us before doing anything too drastic here, Tamir. But we understand the Ispalini rage. It will not fault you directly, though it may cause some tensions between our people and your own if you happen to slaughter a Styuhian without trial.
I understand.
Anything else?
Keep that in mind.
Oh. Okay. And Serena will finally end it and say, let us know if there's anything that you need from us. As I said, your payment is now ready. We're sitting on it for namesake to give the illusion that we are waiting to gather that money to pay you, to give you some additional time to do the work here that needs to be done. But if there's anything that you need to purchase here in town, extra bandages, armor, and you want to utilize those funds, you let us know.
How much am I getting paid?
250 gold.
Okay.
So you have a pool of 250 gold to kind of use as needed.
Okay. Can you request to take about 50 of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep track of how much you're carrying around with you there.
Okay.
So at that request, they'll be quick to go and find that and bring that back to you. All right, and with that, we can move back up to the library with Don, who is probably getting himself ready for work with Mead on his heels, coming into this just wreck of a place. I mean, the library has been wrecked. You have parchment that is thrown on the ground, piles of paper that were organized are scattered, vellum just thrown left and right. Some things have been torn up or just dislodged from place to place. Some of your fellow workers are in there trying to organize it and put stuff together, but you really had it cataloged and categorized in a way that is even beyond what they fully understood. So they are trying to match papers and put things together as best as they can before your arrival, that you come in still seeing the library in disarray.
It seems as they went out of their way in order to try and cause as much destruction as possible.
And
well, Mead, what do you think?
I think we might as well start small and work our way big, Papa. Is there an area that you'd like me to start cleaning up? I can pick up the papers and stack them well enough so you can sort through them easier.
How old is she?
She's 8. She's 8?
I don't think you have child labor laws. I think you're good.
No, it just her speech patterns just are make me keep thinking she's older.
I apologize.
Sorry.
She's smart for an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Dumb it down. Dumb it down.
Go and see what help that the rest in here need. Let them direct you. And I'll just kind of like push her off in a direction towards them. I'll try and get the attention of I don't know who maybe is next in charge or one of the lead servants or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Probably be Andriana would be the next person in there.
Andriana.
Yes. Mr. Mega.
This is going to take some time to clean up. Do your best. I'm not too concerned about it at present. Most importantly, I would like my workspace to be prepared. Gather what materials you can. The good vellum, anything that is aged, along with my inks and quills, and see that light is brought. As soon as I have that area set up, then please continue with the rest.
Right away, sir. I will say your mother was here just a bit earlier and said she would be back soon to speak with you.
Fair enough.
I will get those done immediately, and she'll rush off and start getting things pulled together and getting your work area set up and following your instructions to the best of her ability.
And I'll be assisting, like I'm not just standing there watching, but just needed somebody to help me to kind of get things going.
Go get my stuff.
Go set up my space. But no, I'll go through and I'll assist so that I basically have the area set up for it, and I will begin on the work as best as I can from my recollection, in the hopes that Dorothy comes along at some point to offer his memory as well.
Okay. Before Dorothy does arrive, Rosalia will, of course, come by and check in with you. My son, I wanted to stop in and she walks across the room, her blue gown flowing, and apologize for my hastiness. I feel as though did not respond well to what had occurred with you in the situation yesterday with the others.
So, Don will take a moment to finish the particular thing that he's working on before he will take his quill and set it to the side, dusting his vellum with sand to help the ink dry. It's not a concern. Yesterday was an emotional day for all of us. No doubt there were concerns on your part, not only for my safety being out of town for so long, but with the news that you heard from the library as well. I cannot imagine that it was an easy day for you either.
I appreciate your understanding. It is so much to be balanced right now. I understand Dorothy will be coming up soon to speak with you, but I wanted to see if there's anything I could do to aid you this day. I'd like to clear some time and help as much as I can. And I can't help but notice you are still injured. Did you not go to find some way of...
I forgot, honestly. There's a lot preoccupying me. I don't suppose you know anything about these old documents. That is my primary concern at the moment.
I do know some. I'm really unclear on how we will be proceeding, but the first document is the Marhinen's Apis, translated to the Marhina's Chronicle. I know that it emphasizes her as being the central deity, but that's about all I know of it. The second is the 𝐾𝐨𝐬𝐤𝐞, translated to Magic Lore, and it has some intricate teachings of 𝐾𝐨 and its attachment to Marhina's influence. And the third, the �ฑ𝐢𝐤𝐤𝐞, it means �ฑ𝐢𝐤 Codex. It is a compilation of knowledge, again, with between 𝐾𝐨 and Marhina herself and where she draws her power. But Dorothy is much more educated in these things than I.
Yes, I was aware of their names. What are we translating this from?
It is an older dialect of �ฑ𝐢𝐤.
Okay.
Is how you've been trained to understand it.
Okay, so it's like Old English.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. So I would imagine I am probably pretty fluent in that dialect, and so the entire manuscript itself would have been written in that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The nice thing about this, which you would understand, Don, is that while you're very skilled in Old �ฑ𝐢𝐤 dialect and you write in that way, most of the �ฑ𝐢𝐤 people are not, including some of those that are amongst the Ninth Council. So
do
just like you,
do I know the authors of these texts?
You do not, actually.
Do I know other texts that were composed at the same time?
Yes, you know of about 5 that are in the library that are accessible to you.
Okay, so I will ask my mother to go and retrieve those for me.
Okay.
Since she was wanting to help. Hope is that perhaps one of those, even if I don't know the name of the author, perhaps one of those was actually written by the same person. Mm-hmm. And it might give me something to copy in terms of language patterns and the particular handwriting, maybe be able to match the particular type of ink that was used, whether it was actually like some kind of iron ink or it was taken out of like I think that they used to use like nuts or something like that as well. There's a variety of ways in which ink used to be created, so I'm hoping that I can look at those and identify the specifics of what it should be, and then I'll also be able to try and match some of the aging patterns.
Okay, yeah, we will be rolling some things for exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, actually what you'll see with many of them is it appears that many of them were written by the same author, but as you study some of the texts, which this will depend on roles we do later, like you'll see that there's been interlopations or things that have been added or things that have been written over the top of and changed over the years by additional authors or other eyes that have looked at it. Many of them appear to be the same. But also to the previous point, only a few people are skilled in reading like this old dialect. So it's like handing somebody Canterbury Tales and then handing them another document that's written like Canterbury Tales, and they can't tell the difference between them because they're both written in Old English. So like if you were to write something very flavorful and pretty in Old English that looks the same, most people aren't going to be able to tell the difference between this document and one of the ones that were taken because it's still written in the old language.
Which most people cannot. Do I know of anyone specific to the Ninth Council who is an expert or even, I would say, proficient in any of these regards?
Roll me an intelligence check. Our first roll of the night.
Ba-boom!
Critical.
That's a good one.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
You even know what they want on their Cobb salad.
Yeah. Fish and gravy.
There is only one individual among the Ninth Council that knows how to read this text, and that is Andre Kochi. He is the oldest member that is with them. You also know that the Archon, Lazar Benjamin, knows how to read this as well. But there's only one on the Ninth Council that knows how to read this text.
Okay, so I will also tell my mother that he is the linchpin to unraveling our plans here, and so it may be a good idea if she wouldn't mind going and speaking with 𝐸𝐸 or Mihail, and letting them know who that is, and then what the danger therein lies, so that they can begin trying to come up with a plan.
Okay. So she can do that. She'll also bring you these other texts to look at, John.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and do these really, somewhat swiftly, and then bring in Dorothée before we move forward. So the first text she's going to bring to you is the Perrin Nova Pieśma. It's a manuscript known as Perrin's Song. I need an int check rolled from you.
Oh, come on. I just did a good int check roll. Don't make me do another one.
We're going to do 5 of them here.
Well.
Go through each one of these. And that is another success. That is a 20, not natural, but it is a 20. Perrin Nova Pieśma is telling of the thunder god's might and Marhina's blessings. It weaves a tale of storms and magic and the harmony between the divine and the mystical. Your int check will reveal that this particular text is largely fiction. So this is like just a fictional tale that was put together by some ancient writer in Old English. So for you, like, considering if there's a document you want to swap or use as a fake, like, this one has no bearing or meaning to it.
What was that called?
Perrin's Song.
And I've already copied Perrin's Song over at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
Okay.
All right, next check. Ooh, a critical failure. The next one is called the Starlit Curse. I'm not even going to try to pronounce its actual name because I'll butcher it worse than I have the other ones. This text, essentially explores the celestial ties between Marhina and whatever the magical benefits are. But a lot of this text is actually difficult for you to understand the history. There's been a lot of writing over the top of it, and things are erased, and it's become so smudged that it's very difficult to understand what it fully says or was supposed to say. All right, next check. Ooh. There it is. All right, a 22 is another successful check. This one is the Okovano Toracastandvizo. It's translated to the Enchained Prophecy. This one foretells the destiny of the Stygians in connection to Ǩaģdāsvō. Your check tells you that the Stygians actually, in olden times, primarily were primal magic users, more than any other among their people. And as time went on, their power began to expand more away from primal magic. All right, and our fourth check for your fourth manuscript. That is another success with a 16. This one is the �dzirzilinge. It's translated to the Embrace of the Green Realm. It's a text that connects Marhina's divine presence to the vibrant energies of nature, interwoven with the verdant mysteries of Ǩaģdāsvō. This one, as you're looking at this one and kind of studying it, you're going to see that Marhina's name was supplanted in the text. It was not initially her name that was written there. And last one, and that's going to be another success with a 14, since this is a prime for you. This one is the Mrazny Rezkost. It's translated as Frosty Sharpness. It's a mystical text exploring the intersection of Marhina's influence and the chilling power of Ǩaģdāsvō and Stygian traditions. your check is going to see that this one is actually frequently copied. In fact, you're probably not the only person that owns it. There's tons of these that are spread in the modern language throughout 𝐸𝐸𝐻𝐻. This one just happens to be written in the Old English. So not too bad. 4 out of 5 checks were successful in breaking these down, and it gives you some options for ones that you may want to supplant or utilize to bring in or offer up.
All right, I'll give the information that I know about those to my mother as well, along with the name Andrzej, and ask that she also deliver that information to at least one of them, so that we can formulate a plan on which one would be best to submit. Personally, I think for Dawn, he's going to suggest either Parent Song or Frosty Sharpness as being the 2 most viable, but that's just kind of what he's throwing out there at the moment.
And we have to swap 3 of them, right, or 2?
No, these are the 5 that I have in the library that are good options to offer.
Copy.
Yeah, these are offerings. I haven't even started on the copies yet, right?
Gotcha.
Right. Okay, so she'll take that information. She's going to take these 5 texts. She's going to take the name of Andre, and she will go try to find Mihail.
Well, she's not supposed to take them from me.
No, she's going to take the information.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like, I need these, because they're also examples that I'm
mine.
using for creating the other copies that I'm working on.
Yeah. So she will take that information as well as the name and go look for Sir Mihail specifically. And then she will also, and as she leaves, Dorothy will then come into the library. A bit better it looks than it did yesterday, yes?
Yes, Need has been invaluable. She's working harder than anyone else in here.
I look forward to the day that she is a grown woman and is helping run this place. I hope I live long enough to see it.
Yes, we'll have to see how things look in the future. I don't have my fingers crossed. So, you remember something of these manuscripts? You think you could be of help?
I believe so, and I can tell you all that I can of each of them. I've read them many times. Which one would you like to start with?
Let's start with the one you remember most about, whichever one that may be. Start out with something a little bit easier, and hopefully that will give us a bit of momentum working on the others.
Okay. So that we don't have to go through each one of these, John. He's going to be able to sit down with you and talk to you about each one of them, starting with the �ฑ𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻 Codex, talking about how it's this compilation of knowledge bridging, the stuff between Marhina and 𝐾𝐨𝐷𝑆tvo, moving on to magic lore, and then he'll talk about Marhina's Chronicle at the end. I'd like you to roll me a wisdom check.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, you rolled a 21 wisdom check. With your wisdom check, you are going to pick up on that Dorothy pauses at interesting times in his retelling of these manuscripts. And it seems as though he is clearly spinning a narrative that goes within those texts and how they should be written and what they should say.
Not necessarily what they do say?
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say that it's more as though he's adding some additional flair to the story.
He's embellishing it.
He's embellishing it. Yes, that's the word I need. Yeah,
so
he's embellishing what each one of them is and how important it is, and putting emphasis on certain areas. And you're not sure that emphasis is actually true to the original.
Dorothy, remember these are intended to be burned. We need replicas. It needs to be convincing that they are the same.
Ah, yes. I suppose that no one will really be reading these, will they? If you're able to.
No, not at all.
If you're able to retrieve the others. Very, very, very good. And so then he will start kind of stepping back and retelling the story again with you calling out, and does a much better job at keeping it directly to it. What I'm going to have you do, John, is again just roll me intelligence stuff, but with your other 4 building on it, you're going to add an additional +4 to your rolls.
So intelligence at +4?
Yeah, at +4 for each one of these 3.
So basically 1 per text.
Yeah, 1 per text. Mm-hmm. That one is a success with a 12 as your primary.
Oh, jeez.
Another success with a 19 and a success with an 18. So over the day that you spend with Dorfe, talking to him and working on these, you are going to successfully make 3 forgeries of these 3 texts.
Very good.
Thus far,
How do I... So, content-wise, I'm good. Do I need to do anything else in terms of appearance to sell these?
I am going to put that right into the same roll so that we don't really put the dice against you. You've been so successful. 7.
I cannot... This is the best series of rolls I've had in my entire D&D career, and
That's true.
I just want to... I don't want to roll anymore tonight. I just want to live on this.
No
high
more
for a
rolls.
while.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let's just
Leave-
close the
leave it
curtain and
there.
say the campaign's over.
We won.
Right.
Like I said.
Yeah.
I mean, jeez.
All right. Excellent. All right. Let's move then to 𝐸𝐸.
Okay.
You, of course, are in the Ferrettery, or the Requilary, however you want to look at it, looking at your artifacts. How do you want to proceed? You know everything is there. You got a couple of folks that are in there working with you. You have the 4 items that have been identified are potentially helpful in your campaign. How do you want to proceed?
I'm going to, since Sergey and Anastasia, right, that was her name?
Yep.
Yeah, have been here, and I haven't been the last couple of days anyway. I guess first thing, I'm going to approach Sergey and just kind of ask him some questions. Sergey, has anybody from the 9th been around lately? Have you noticed anyone other than the Archon who's welcome in this house?
Has anyone from the 9th come in?
Yes.
I will say that Marcel Malik comes in from time to time. Your mother never lets him come in here unaccompanied, so she is always at his side, and he will look over the different artifacts. At one point, about a week ago, the Archon's son, Kel, had come in as well, but again, your mother walked with them throughout that time period, making sure that they were attended.
You know what they were doing?
They asked to see our books, asked to see the inventory to know what was here stationed within these walls. I suspect that they were taking account of what we had and relating it back to the Archon to choose what to do with it in regards to the 9th.
Yes, well, in regards to what they want to do with it, I'm afraid it's probably not for the better.
Excuse me for speaking freely, 𝐸𝐸, but I miss the days of �ฑ𝐸𝐸𝐼ans creating weapons such as magnificent as these around us. I hate to think that those days are long gone, that we may never create something again, blending the very metals and pieces of the earth with our magic that we have access to.
Man,
Are these the last relics of any age?
I don't know if these are the last. I think our people will again. Right now, sure, we won't. We aren't. But I think we will again. Everything is a cycle, my friend. We must remember this. You can't fight the tide. Things change, times change. It's important to remember that, and it's important to hold on to what we have.
You're going to see just a slight smile at the corner of his mouth. You speak the wisdom of my father, 𝐸𝐸. I know I'm a bit younger. I hope to be as wise as you someday.
No, I'm not wise. I'm just lucky.
Well, you look older today than you did yesterday.
Yes. That I do.
Ouch.
That I do.
Sorry to interrupt here. Would it be considered an insult in this culture to point out people's age? Wouldn't that be a thing that you don't want to mention?
In some cases it may be, but in other cases it's a it's actually a place of respect, especially when it comes to sacred magic users, because for them to age, it means that they are primarily probably using their magic to save somebody else's life, which is highly
that's fair. Yeah, sacred. I can see that. Sacred magic users like, oh, you're old. You must be actually
you must have saved somebody yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or send a guy to turn into a demon.
It was important to say it was a bad guy.
Would, at any point in time, I know we catalog these and we are the keepers of these. Are these things at any point in time ever taken off, cleaned, refreshed, polished, whatever? Is there a schedule to that?
You all usually do that actually within the Fredery yourselves, amongst the few of you that work there.
Okay, so they don't leave this room.
They do not. Not without permission from the Archon, is how it has ran historically. If you're asking him that question, he'll get kind of a twinkle in his eye. Are you asking for us to get permission of the Carrying Council to perhaps close down the Fredery for a time period?
I think we should take stock, and I think we should respect what they have going on, and also respect our items as well. I think with the festival, it should be an option we should look into.
Well, I know that there's me and Anastasia, and he was going to look across the room, that would like to go to the festival tomorrow, instead of having to stay here and guard these items. Usually we have staff sitting here still standing within this place,
Yes.
closing it down and locking it down. Maybe worthwhile. And of course, with the Zanaki within the Temple of Marhina, no one can cast magic within these walls. Which I should have remembered earlier, John, that you can't use magic anyway because of the Zanaki that's in the building.
In which building?
Within
building,
the temple.
what?
Within the temple.
temple.
The Apex has a Zanaki that keeps magic from flowing within the temple. No
So we
one
can't
I thought
use magic.
That was with the Carrying Council. Is that the same building as the library?
Yeah, you're on the second floor of the library. And
Yeah,
so-
I'm on the first floor.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I think we all deserve some respite, especially with the trying times to come.
Well, if you can convince your mother of it, I would welcome it. And Anastasia's going to speak up from the side. And me too!
I'll talk to Mother.
So,
And then-
as you... Oh, go ahead.
No, please.
I was going to say, as you mentioned Mother's name, not one, but both of your mothers are going to come into the Fredery. So you are going to have Parmis and Astera both come into there. As they enter, you will see both of your fellows kind of look at them, and they're going to wave them off. And so they're going to kind of leave the Fredery, leaving you alone with your two mothers. Parmis, has been a while since you've seen her. You spend more time with Astera since she's in the she's in the Carrying Council. She's within the temple. Parmis is a bit older by comparison.
What does she do?
Your mom's. She honestly doesn't do any work. She stays at home most of the time. She plays the noble life. She talks to people. She makes connections, those types of things. But she's significantly older. As a healer, she was a warrior at one point in the with the armies and would go out and fight with them. But she has since retired from such work. So, flickering candlelight's going to kind of cast this warm glow over as they enter. Quietly, kind of concern etched on both of their faces. And it will be Astera who will speak to you first and say, 𝐸, my son, may we have a moment?
You may have too, Mother. What can I do for you?
Parmis will be the one that speaks to you first, gently. Your mother observed you when you returned to Leirheindir. Your dedication to healing is admirable, but it weighs heavily on our hearts what these tasks may do to your vitality. And Astera will nod alongside her. You're the only healer among your friends, your companions. We worry about the toil it is going to take on you, especially with the dangers you will be facing. Already I can see the time siphoning your youth.
Yes, well, that is the calling. It was worth it.
And with that, Parmis will move forward. She's going to place a hand on your cheek. We understand, but You are also our son. We fear for your well-being and the longevity of our bloodline. Nestera will echo her. 𝐸𝐵, if you exhaust your life force, you won't be able to carry on the family line. We want you to find balance, to think of your future. Sacrifices, maybe in the form of your companions, may need to be made to keep the balance.
I understand. I've thought about it. I have. Right now, preserving what we have, that is the most important. If we don't preserve that, there's no future anyway.
No, we can't see your flame be extinguished, though. You have to preserve yourself.
And Mother, you have my word. I will do my best.
Sarah's going to smile at that. I appreciate it, 𝐸𝐵. Me and your mother were afraid how to approach this subject. You have a myriad of duties. I just want to be certain that you are cautious, not to volunteer yourself to touch any magic beyond sacred if you don't have to. Encourage your companions to use 𝐾𝐨𝐲 instead. We must survive the fall of the Carrion Council to see it rise anew, and that must be done through a child you create, either through the old way or the new.
I understand. And again, your concern is appreciated. And I love you both. And I will do my best. But know that what we are doing is more important. Because if we fail, it's all gone anyway. You both know this, otherwise you wouldn't have asked.
And Sarah will be a little bit stronger at this, and nodding, her jaw tightening. You will see Parmes have a single tear kind of falling out of her eye with your words. And with that, we will take a break.
I am going to ask them actually about closing during the festival.
Oh yes, they will both acquiesce to that request, and closing the ferretery and locking it up solid, knowing that no one can come in here and break into the place.
And they're the only ones with keys, right?
Everyone on the 9th has keys, and yourself.
On the 9th or the Carrion Council?
Jesus, oh my God! Everyone on the Carrion Council has keys, and yourself.
And I have a key.
Yeah, you have a key as well.
Okay, never mind then.
Not the 9th, Jesus.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, everyone on the Carrion Council.
We have a key to everything else. Why not?
The funny thing is, I feel like your moms really don't care about you. All they want is grandbabies.
They just want a grandbaby. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard out of that.
That just sounds typical, though.
I know.
Yeah, that's a normal grandparent thing.
Mm-hmm.
When are you gonna settle down?
They don't even care about settling down. Just you need to get it on either the old-fashioned way or the newfangled way.
All right, that's a good spot for a break there. I got to pull up a map for Greg because he's got too many people involved.
Ah, shit.
All right, everybody, welcome back to whatever the fuck are we doing. Everybody, welcome back to the 9th Ascension. We are coming back from our break where we are continuing our story, moving over to Sir Mihail Caligula, who is in his courtyard with 𝐿, who has now joined him. The sun is still not quite at its apex. It's still coming up as his soldiers are practicing in the courtyard. He only has one of his voivodes with him, since Jarek has been sent off to go scouting with a few of his number. As you are there, sir, with 𝐿, it won't be long before Dawn's mother will come down to the courtyard. So Roselia will be coming down the stairs as you are standing there with 𝐿, discussing whatever it is that you two may be discussing.
We'll probably be discussing my men's form as they're practicing.
Any comments on his men's form, 𝐿?
Does that one over there even know which end of the sword to use?
Doesn't look like it, does it? I think he needs some laps.
It's probably pretty hard considering you govern axemen and bowmen and none of them use swords.
A good soldier should be trained in all forms of weaponry. You can't guarantee your weapon doesn't break on the field.
So Roselia will approach both of you. My son sent me to share with you some information as he's been working tirelessly this morning in the library. And she's going to share the many different texts that he's been going through and the ones that he's working on, which will tell you he has identified that 𝐼𝐸 Kochi is the only one among the Ninth Council who knows how to read the old 𝐮𝐤𝐤𝐸 dialect in text, where the rest of the Ninth Council may not know such things. He considers this to potentially be a concern if 𝐼𝐸 takes a closer look at any of the texts that he tries to replace or that you do. Your eyes are going to dart around at all the different men in the courtyard. Both of you, I need you to roll in... Well, I'm sorry. You don't have to roll anything, 𝐿. Sir Caligula, I need you to roll me an int check. You do. It is a prime. 12 will barely make that. You recognize that before she started speaking, she was actually using sky magic around you and keeping your conversation within the hollows of your space together.
I was actually thinking of doing that myself. What does Mihail himself know about this guy?
About 𝐼𝐸, you can roll me another int to see if you know anything about him. You do not know much about him. You know he is the perceivably the oldest one sitting on the Ninth Council, and you would probably know that he is also a sacred magic user, like 𝐸. That's probably about the extent of it. It's actually interesting that he's on the council. He's not a man of great renown. His family doesn't have a name that's really prominent in 𝐮𝐤𝐸𝐸 society.
Madam Mager, what can you tell me of 𝐼𝐸? I'm not familiar with him.
His family worked as farmers for some time. His father was rather studious and likely taught him the language when he was a young boy, so he may be a bit out of practice unless he's kept up with it. I know that he used his life at one point to save the life of, who was it? The Archon's father. So while the Archon was a boy, he had used much of his life to save his father, which put him in good standing with the Imperial family.
And is that how he managed to get his position on the Ninth Council?
It may very well be. It could have been that he was appointed by Archon 𝐿azar, my apologies, and it was allowed to do so because of the favor that he did the family.
What did Dawn expect me to do with this information regarding his books?
I don't know. He was
Thank you, Madam Mager.
Come on, Mom.
She'll say he wants to make sure that he has an open conversation with everyone about which might be potential documents to bribe your way into the company of the Ninth Council. I think he had a couple of the documents that may have been preferable on his end, but he wanted to make sure you were aware of which ones were there so you could think it over and give him some feedback on which ones you think should be presented to the Ninth. Are there any documents you'd like for him to be sure that he keeps close to his person, a message you'd like for me to relay back?
No. Not at this time.
Okay. I can let him know that you will think it over more and hopefully have an answer to him before returning to the temple this evening.
That would be perfect.
Okay. And 𝐿𝐷𝐸, you're doing well enough?
Yeah, other than I didn't get my fish and gravy.
I can make you something much better than fish and gravy if you prefer. I am known to be a much better cook than what they serve at the pub. I didn't realize that you were eating that filth.
I may have to take you up on that.
Are you doing well in this weather? I know Tundra S'mores tends to be rather frigid and ice-covered, which is peculiar for the island. Is the summer weather, spring weather, I guess, for a couple more days to your liking?
I would prefer to be back home where it's cooler, but it is what it is.
Well, I will be sure to cook you something up. Any requests? Perhaps something from back home that...
I would just appreciate anything from around here. Get something different. When I get home, I'll eat the same food we have there all the time.
Very well. And she will excuse herself and exit. And as she is exiting back up the stairs, you will see 𝐸𝐷𝐸 coming down the stairs, and with him is 𝐾𝐨 Benjamin, the son of the Archon, in his company. There is a moment of their passing where almost eyes glaring between her and either one of these men as she squeezes by them. None of them make an acknowledgement or say any words as she pushes by and heads away from the courtyard. And the 𝐸𝐷𝐸 and 𝐾𝐨 will come down to join you and 𝐸𝐷𝐸 in the courtyard.
I suppose I will meet them at the foot of the stairs, give a polite bow, say good morning, 𝐸𝐷𝐸, and is it Lord?
You just call him Sir Benjamin or just 𝐾𝐨. Either one is fine. Usually it's
Sir Benjamin.
Yeah. Interesting company you keep, Sir Mihail. Your uncle was telling me that you had a good mind about you.
She's the mother to an old friend.
Yeah, sometimes old friends should remain just that, don't you think?
Well, I think we all get old eventually, don't we?
Some of us get older before others. Much like your voivode over there. He's going to take eyes at Damard. Surprised you still keep him in a place of command. I can't imagine he would do much for the healing. Maybe replace him with your old friend Serkan and let this man waste away.
Serkan has his place in the Ferrettery, and Damard's experience has done well. He has not shown me any signs that he needs to be replaced just yet.
Perhaps not, but you are in charge of the fortifications and safety of the people within Leerhind, and instead you position an old man to oversee the ranks. I can't imagine. And as he's talking, 𝐸𝐷𝐸 will cut him off. No one asked for your opinion, 𝐾𝐨. You can let 𝐸𝐤𝐤 do what he does. He's protected us long enough, and you aren't quite Archon yet. So save your opinion until you take your dad's seat.
I'll give 𝐸𝐤𝐤 a nod in thanks for his comment.
I received your message. It came to me yesterday while you were out and about. From Domrard there, who did his duty in delivering it to me. He'll kind of squint his eyes at Kel on the side. I have since sent him back out to the crossroads. He's taken half of his men. 20 swordsmen, 11 bowmen, 8 of the axemen, left the other half here. He went with his... Oh, wait, I apologize. Sir Goron did not go. Sir Goron sent his voivode out with half his men to the crossroads. So he has sent out half his men with his voivode. Also his wife, of course, Gabriella, to go with the men and guard the crossroads while he stays here with the other half of the troop.
Crossroads was to the east?
Yeah, everything's to the east. The west is the ocean.
Right, and I sent Jarek and 7 men to the northeast along the coast.
Yes.
Okay. After 𝐸𝐤𝐤 mentions the people going out to the crossroads, I'll nod and say yes. I sent Jarek out with some scouts towards the coast to look for any advanced parties in that direction last evening. He's yet to return to the city, though.
I see. How many did you send with him?
7?
Yeah. Alright, so 7 men are out with Jarek, one of your voivodes. Sir Goron has his single voivode out with half the men. That leaves only 1 voivode left among your army, Domar. And how many men did you lose in your excursion against the Vukhari at the crossroads? I didn't see that in your report.
Yeah, I did lose 1 man during the Vukhari scouting operation. 1 bowman.
All right, very good. I'm just trying to do some quick math in my head. I suppose that means we have roughly 85 men in our army here within the city to hold it if anything were to occur. I imagine that's enough, don't you think?
You said we had how many men?
About 85 left in your army in the city to guard it.
The entire city?
Yeah.
And half of, like, a quarter of our army is outside of the city already.
Yes.
We
At
do
your
not have
command,
a very
sir.
large city.
I was gonna say, would you mind clarifying how big Lerheim is?
Lerheim is only about probably 500, 600 people.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. When you say city,
That helps.
you think,
Yeah, I'm
you
thinking,
think-
at least a couple thousand or something. And we
apologize.
have 100 people in our
It's
army.
a large town.
I was thinking like 5,000 people in the city, right?
Yeah.
I'm
that's kind of what I figured, is that it was less than 1,000 people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't sure. But I was like, yeah, I think that the numbers may not make sense if you don't know how big the town
Okay.
is.
So we still have 80-some, which is roughly a quarter of the population.
Something
We
like
should be fine.
Yeah.
I think we have enough in the city, as long as they stay vigilant.
As long as they stay what?
Vigilant?
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, tomorrow is the celebration. Most of our men are used to celebrating that. I understand that the Vukhari have pressed up, but I was going to consult with you about if we believe there needed to be a few men on watch during the time of the celebration. Usually the Vukhari honor this time. We're not usually worried about being attacked during times like these.
Given that they've already decided to up their timetable this year, and we've disrupted that by taking out their scouting party, I think it would be prudent to at least have the men do shorter rotations throughout the day to keep on guard during the celebration.
And how about the evening celebration?
Same. Essentially, what I'm proposing is, instead of normal, 10-hour shifts for guarding, drop it down to like 4 hours with less people. So they rotate more often, but it gives the men more opportunity to go enjoy the celebration. But we still have people always on watch.
Okay. And does that satisfy you, Sir Kel? He's just going to kind of firmly nod. And how about you, Sir Espellini? I'm surprised to see that you are still here in town. Did you already deliver your product?
Well, I mean, one, your company here is so wonderful to be around that it makes one want to stay longer. And, you know, sometimes it takes time to wrangle up all that you need to pay for things when things have gotten in place that makes it harder to have money.
Well, rumor has it that you were traversing outside the walls and killing Vucari for us. I can't say that I've ever seen your kind be so eager to engage in our conflict with the shapeshifters. What caused you to raise your axe in our cause?
To better be able to communicate to my people what you all do and to better know you, especially if we're going to be trading more weapons with you.
You, sir, are a true emissary, and we're glad to have our alliance with you, Spellini. We look forward to our future endeavors together. Well, that is all I have come down here for. Anything that you need from me, Sir Mihail?
I would like to know if Sir Goran's men find anything, or if he gets word of any Vucari movements out by the crossroads.
Well, you should see him tomorrow night at the evening festivals if you're attending. You could probably ask him then.
That sounds admittable.
Well, he will turn to Kel and tell Kel that they probably need to go report back to the Archon, all that they have learned from you, and then they will make their exit from the courtyard as well. All right, and with that, you all are free to progress as you would like to for the rest of the day. Dawn, of course, will be taking some time and finishing up these manuscripts. It's going to take time to write these out throughout the day. But however you would like to proceed, you guys can come back and rendezvous at the temple or at the pub or however you'd like to proceed.
I've got a question about, let's see if I can not butcher the name, 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞?
Mm-hmm.
How far can I travel from my body in that?
Indefinitely.
So would I be able to take some time to drop into 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞 and try and find 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞?
Yeah.
How long would that take me?
It wouldn't take you too long. I imagine it's going to do more with you tracking him down and trying to find him than it's going to be for you to actually travel the distance. So roll me an int.
I guess am I watching over you as you do this?
This would probably be like after we're done with the training session.
So I don't get to draw anything on your face.
No, not this time. I'll stay at my house and you can go off and see Sir Khan or Dawn or something.
Tell me to come in and tell you a story. Yeah, so that would be successful. So in looking for 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞, it's going to take you about an hour. I mean, you rolled an 18. It's a pretty good idea where you sent him, where to go look at. In tracking him down, you will, in that hour, you will find him actually making his way back toward 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐻. He is injured. He has a gash across the underside of his rib on the left side. He also has a couple of cuts on his face. There is one bowman who is traveling with him. The rest of his party seems to be gone.
Can I travel past him?
He's about 2 hours outside of 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐻, but at the rate that he's traveling, it'll probably take about double that time to get there.
All right. Can I travel past him, try and like track where he come from for some kind of battle site?
Sure. You will be able to move then along the coast. There will be the remains of a battle, probably about 4 hours beyond that. along the coast with both dead Fukari and dead Stuhians littering across the sands by the ocean. There are a few boats that are pulled up to the shore. You do not see anyone remaining there that is living.
Okay, how many Fukari?
About a dozen.
That's not good, Jarek. 8 to 12, and you come back with 2 people severely injured? That's not good. All right. I'll head back to the city then.
Okay.
I'd probably like to go to a shop or buy some supplies since I have a chance to, and I'm probably not good at copying scrolls or dealing with the politics around here. So that's all he would probably do. Other than that, maybe just try to find random kids and tell his Ispalini bedtime stories too.
Jeez.
Find random kids. Okay, it's nap time.
Come here, kids. Sit on my knee.
Let's go, man.
Not like that.
Just be careful. I guess I'm just curious in what it is that you're looking for specifically to buy, because they essentially have shut down all weapon shops, all armor shops.
Maybe I'm looking for bandages and stuff.
Yeah, that won't be hard to find.
Okay. I just wanted to buy some of those supplies and...
Yeah, remember they do not have the grass or the herb things. They only have regular bandages within the Airhun.
Okay. Is there anything else that just supply-wise would be important to have, or
crossbow bolts?
You can buy your own darn crossbow bolts.
Why'd you ask?
Yeah, I mean, you asked.
I was asking Josh. I was asking Josh, like, if there's supply stuff that I don't necessarily know about right now.
Did my mother happen to go and get me a bandage when she noticed I was injured, or did she just leave me like that?
Your mommy gives you a Band-Aid?
Well, she asked you why you didn't go siphon the life out of something to bring yourself back to life, or to heal yourself.
That's her way of getting you a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Go suck.
Well, because that still takes mana.
It does.
So that would age me, so that's why I don't do it.
But no, she didn't go get you a bandage.
This is the worst mother. It's like, I noticed that you're bleeding and you have a cracked rib. Yeah.
Have fun.
Okay.
But she already has her grandbaby, so she's okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. But she just gives the grandbaby to the servants.
It's not her way.
No wonder everyone in her family is dying.
𝐸 going to, I guess for the most part, do his job. He's really going to take note of who comes in and out of the temple today. Just because I have a feeling we may be stealing some stuff.
It's actually a really quiet day in the temple after you guys were raided by the 9th yesterday. Like, it's very quiet. You may have a few folks come in and offer prayer in the main hall, but nobody ventures up to the library. Nobody ventures up to the Freddery. It's a very quiet day overall.
Aside from that, yeah, I'd see if I can assist Dawn in some fashion.
Yeah, which could probably expedite some of his time. I mean, you're skilled in hand and you're knowledgeable. You may have to ask questions off and on.
Sure.
But at least organizing things for him would be helpful.
And I mean, I would then also share the information that I had gathered with you as well, 𝐸. So details about the manuscripts to get your opinion on which one that we should try and use to get our way in, and then also information about 𝐿𝐥𝐤𝐤, so that he's the dangerous element in all of this, and try and shop some ideas for what we can do to avoid and or distract him while we're trying to execute this process.
Do I know that individual?
No better than probably anyone else. I mean, you can roll
Okay.
an int check if you want, but the knowledge that you have is probably going to be very similar to what was shared by Don's mother. Yeah, so you know the same things that the mother would know, but with the 21. But you're also going to, of course, know that you may actually have heard rumor that he has continued to practice this type of skill over the years.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess I'll give my thoughts on what text and Embrace of the Green Realm is probably a good one to give away. 𝐸 would feel we need to hold on to the Paranova Starlit Curse, because I can't pronounce that word. And then the Enchained Prophecy. 𝐸 would feel a little more pull on those to hold on to.
Starlit Curse and Enchained Prophecy to keep?
In 𝐸, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to 𝐸 anyway. The other two, the Frosty Sharpness, I don't know. I would actually probably get rid of one of the other three initially over that one, just because if that's a common text, the chances of that getting seen by this individual, if he is there, is higher.
That's a good point.
So 𝐸 would, while 𝐸 said would definitely feel that's one to get rid of, like, no, it doesn't matter to anybody. With it being a common text, the chances of that being noticed is much higher, and I would not want to take that risk. There's too much hanging in the balance, so
Right.
probably Unchained Prophecy in that case, or something like that. It's kind of a toss-up for him.
Make sure you're also staying frosty.
Yeah.
Okay, but you were thinking Embrace of the Green Realm potentially is the one.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Can I make one more request, possibly, for my character to do other than shopping?
Sure.
Could he use his Deerstalker ability to maybe look for some herbs that, if he'd be familiar with, that could like make a poison, not necessarily a poison that would kill anyone, but might make them like just sick or almost like food poisoning?
You'd have to probably traverse outside of town to look for them, but you're more than welcome to.
Okay. He'd probably do that.
You got all afternoon because Mahal's taking a nap.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
Goodness.
Yeah, you were able to find some stuff there.
Mirror's gonna poison somebody.
Well,
kill
one of
an
you
old
might
man with
betray
good
me.
poison.
I mean, there's so many things going on right now.
Gonna give Mahale the runs for ditching him.
Dude, you gotta try this fish gravy.
Aramir, roll me a d4.
Nice.
Nice, dude.
Oh, high's good, right?
I assume so.
Yeah.
4
That's
out
a
of 4.
I just want to make
4 out
sure.
of 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be able to craft 4 potions of poison that you will now be able to find in your inventory.
Nice.
I'm going to add it to our Kool-Aid.
So these potions of poison, the way that they work,
Eric
Is
ends
that-
the campaign himself.
there's a
We all
Constitution save.
shit
that-
ourselves to death.
A Constitution save has to be make, or there's a D10 of Constitution damage, and
Oh
then
my gosh.
and then a minute later, there's another D10 of Constitution damage with another save if they don't make the first one.
Holy
That's
Yeah, that
sound.
poison would kill us.
I feel like that would kill people.
That might have been a little stronger than I wanted. I wonder if I needed
Eric,
to do it.
Eric Mears like just something to like give them the runs, and you're like, here's something
He's
that
thinking
is
giant anatomy, not
it's
Spooky
gonna
anatomy.
rot them out from
Right,
the
exactly.
inside.
He made this for his race, not ours.
Yeah.
Sudden explosive cancer.
Well, originally I thought
God.
maybe to use this on the guy that we were worried about and make him a little sick so maybe he would miss the ceremony, but
He-
I
That's
feel
what
like
I
this
thought
might
you
be a
were
little
going
more
for.
than sick.
That's exactly what I thought you were going for. It's an old man too.
I know.
He's
Yeah.
probably got a con of 4 to begin with.
He might at this point. He's an old healer.
I don't know if I care.
That's
No.
true. I don't know if I
I
can.
just feel like I
No,
drop it
you
in
did-
there. It shouldn't be too strong. It should be just right that he's over there like dissolves from the inside out.
I have this image of
melts
Baldur's Gate
into a
3 all of a
puddle.
sudden with the goblins.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I say you do it, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm on board for it. I'm there, man.
That'd be a hell of a distraction.
Are we intending to try and pull this off like tonight, or are we wanting to like do this tomorrow? I guess I'm still. Let's sorry, back up a minute. After we finish, do we just want to like meet somewhere? My mom invited 𝐿𝐼𝐸 over for dinner. So
yeah,
we meet at Don's house.
Don, we need to talk about 𝐿𝐼𝐸 and your mother. There's some weird things going on there.
She's got a hold of Phil.
good God.
I mean that her
I'm gonna be your dad.
Wow. Don does not
Didn't
need
we
to
just
be part
have
of
this
that
talk earlier?
conversation.
And then your mom will just say she left her child with me.
For the bedtime stories.
Where's Neej? She's sleeping with 𝐿𝐼𝐸. It's fine.
Oh God.
Oh.
Mother.
We're derailing fast, gentlemen.
Yeah.
So is my mother preparing dinner for us this evening?
Yeah, she can make you guys dinner.
Okay, we can have dinner.
All right.
We can have dinner as a family.
Are we going to the temple? Or are we meeting?
Oh, that's up to you guys. If you're going to the temple or Don's house.
Don's house.
Don's house. Yeah.
Don doesn't
All
have
right,
the temple.
Let's go to Don's house.
I just figure it's safer than meeting at the tavern to, hatch skullduggery.
It's fine.
That's a fun word.
You guys are all sitting around the table eating. And you see Kel Benjamin come by the window and peek in and look at Mihail, who says that it's old friends.
We will have the curtains drawn.
Windows and doors locked.
All right, so evening will settle. You guys will all finish up your daily work and come to Don's house, where you'll sit down and have a lovely meal that'll be fixed by his mother. And Need, of course, will sit there and eat with you guys for a little bit before being to going off on her own and playing, to give you guys a chance to communicate about the findings of the day and whatever decisions you make about how you want to proceed the following day for the celebration.
No, Joshua, you can't leave it like that. She was talking about how good of a cook she is. What the hell did she make us?
She actually made you some venison. So she had leftover venison that she used. She has a nice.
𝐿𝐼𝐸's like, I just had that last night.
Yeah.
We're talking about fish.
Did you say something about fish?
You kind of grew to
Venison.
like the fish, okay?
Venison and what?
She's got some venison and some greens that she's put along on the side of it.
Kale.
As long as it's uncooked kale, you can handle that. But cooked kale,
and it's just well salted venison. It's not in any gravy.
Okay.
brags about this meal that it's like, here, just do some salt
She
on
gives you dry meat and
Ale.
salted venison and kale.
and
It's a
lettuce.
free meal. He's not going to argue.
Mother,
Two-
you've really outdone yourself.
two helpings.
It was lovely. Thank you.
I almost prefer the fish gravy.
𝐿𝐼𝐸 will hear that and kind of look around.
She will pull out the good honey mead wine and pour everyone a glass.
There we go.
That makes up for it.
So, 𝐿𝐼𝐸, how was your day?
Met the son, I guess, of your leader. Kind of a pretentious one. Let's see. Went some shopping. Did buy some bandages if people need some, have some on their supply. And I went foraging for some herbs for possibly making a poison, which, well, actually, I did make the poison, but I have that in case we might need that. Although it came out a little bit stronger than I intended.
Did you try it?
No. But the smell was much stronger than what it should be.
We grow good herbs in this region, so I would imagine it's just a little better stock going into the poison, perhaps.
Erdmir, if I can ask, poison for what?
Well, you know, I didn't have much to do here and thought, maybe we'd make something small to take care of this person who might be a problem and make them a little sick so they're not there. Although I'm a little worried it might do more than make them sick. Not really worried. It just might happen.
He's got the life force left. He's a sacred. He'll be fine.
Rosalia, who is still sitting with you, is going to object to this course of action. Murder in one of our own is against our laws. If I could remind each of you that it is our duty to stay to our laws as best as possible and possibly not draw more attention by slaughtering our own people.
I hardly see that as slaughtering.
Well, it's not really the intent. It might cause some harm, but it sounds as though it's merely meant to debilitate at most, right, Erdmir?
Yeah.
See? No need to worry.
Temporary debilitation. That's fine.
We have one item out of the 5 that we need, and if you all are caught, or if you all murder somebody and are put on trial and die, there's no way we will get the other 4 items that we need.
Well,
Why would anyone suspect us for killing them? We're not doing anything wrong.
Well, for one, most Ďuhians don't use the herbs that grow outside the wall to cause poison because so many of our healers are able to get rid of the poison.
See? You won't die. You'll be fine.
I feel like maybe we're putting the cart before the goat. We're just talking at the moment. Just trying to figure out a plan. Erdmir is bringing resources to the conversation.
My apologies, my son. She's gonna drink her wine.
I may have lost favor with his mom now.
The hole will remain unfilled.
She was talking about her
Thank
dead
goodness.
husband. Had a
Thanks,
hole in her
Marina.
heart.
So, going back, are we still intending to try and communicate with our friend in order to close the distance and make the exchange? I believe that I've done a passable job for the manuscripts that need to be exchanged. I'm just not sure if that's something we are going to attempt to do this evening before the festivities tomorrow, or if we want to try and accomplish that during the festival.
Well, I think during the festival, we may have better luck, just because more people about. I don't know. I'm torn. I have given some thought about what we discussed yesterday on the artifacts as well. We will be locking down the Fredery during the festival, so potentially if we need something, it will be tricky still, but we might be able to pull it off.
Real quick, Josh. You said that Dawn's mother used magic like sky magic, to make a silent bubble around us.
Mm-hmm.
How much mana would something like that cost?
It's just one.
Would that be like a cantrip?
Mm.
So if we
It's
get
level
this,
0. There's not really cantrips in this, but yes.
well, yeah, it's universal term.
So if you had the amulet that allows you to have that for free, then you could do that freely.
And we could just walk around silently, just covered in sky magic.
I mean, I think people would eventually notice that.
Yeah, they can roll intelligence checks and pick up on it.
Like, you'd notice the magic, but that would be useful in trying to pass through unnoticed.
You'd pass quietly. You'd still be seen,
Right,
but not heard.
which has its own use.
Sure. If we want to attempt such, I can get us in. How long before they notice they're gone? That's another story.
I'm not familiar with the process of, or the leadership of the Ferretary. Who all has access to it when it's in lockdown like that?
Myself, my mother, and the Archon.
The Council of Nine doesn't?
The Council of Nine does not. Now I'm drawing a blank on their name.
The Carrion Council?
The Carrion Council does. So,
Okay.
if they go missing when it's locked down, they're going to know who the hell to turn to.
What if we give an alternative theory to what happened to him? How many guards would be at the temple with it on lockdown?
We have no guards anymore.
So-
They've all been moved to the 9th.
What if it looked like someone broke in and took the artifacts, but it was just us that took them? Because it wouldn't be completely probably unreasonable that someone on the 9th Council got a little bit ambitious and decided to raid or maybe do something.
The Archon would not blame them. Nor
Yeah,
would
so-
they be foolish enough to do it.
Well, but they wouldn't, but we just make it look that way so it gives us cover to take things. Because once things are missing, it's going to fall back on you. But if it looks like someone broke in and trashed the place or took stuff,
Hurricane how? Keep in mind we can't use magic.
well, I mean, break down the door,
It's a big
various
door.
things.
It's gonna make a lot of noise. I'm not against it. I'm just telling you.
Again, it just has to look like maybe someone broke in. That way it throws
understand.
off suspicion.
How far does the effects of the anti-magic thing extend? I mean, is that just inside? Is it only a certain portion of the building? Can
It's
you
only-
use
it's
magic
only-
on the outside to like push your way in?
You can. It's only on the inside of the building. And it's not like a barrier that prevents magic from hitting the building. It just prevents you from casting inside of it.
Just
Oh.
thought, because I feel like if we take stuff now and then people know it's gone, they're going to come looking right at us. Or bring more
Yeah.
pressure on you.
Well, we can think on that. Dawn, what of the transcripts?
I believe the manuscripts are of high enough quality to pass subtle or unexperienced eyes. I'm concerned mostly about the Andrzej. If he takes any time to review them closely, or if he is present when we are trying to provide manuscripts of any kind, he may become suspicious, since he is capable of reading the old 𝐮𝐤𝐤. Obviously the Archon is as well, but I don't expect that the Archon will necessarily pay quite as much of attention to it. At least that is my hope.
I don't believe so.
I was just thinking, with that roll that you had an 18, right, on knowing him, 𝐸ⁱ
Yeah.
I had to recheck my notes. You, with an 18, know that he's very fond of his drink. You've seen him drinking heavily before in public areas or even within the pub itself.
Ah, so an excellent opportunity to make use of the poison.
Yeah, let's have Eric
Do I-
here go invite him to a drink as an honored guest.
I think, 𝐸ⁱ, you might get away with maybe challenging him to a little bit of a drinking contest if you are up for it.
That would probably be doable. Although, probably directly involved in administering the poison would be a
Oh, sorry.
Bit suspicious.
I don't think we actually need the poison. I believe
Okay.
that,
Just drink him under the table.
Get him drunk, and that should be sufficient, I suppose.
Sounds like a plan.
So we're intending to do this during the ceremony, or during the festival. Any thoughts on how we should broach that?
Do we know what time they planned on burning the stuff? It was in the evening, right?
It'll be after the sun sets.
Okay.
But they'll have some big bonfires going and things like that. They slaughter some animals right there on the sacrificial table in front of everything. They cook it up around there. They hand out the meat. It's a big how-to-do. Music and dancing and festivities, and most of the town is there.
I hear Third Eye Blind is going to perform.
Yeah. That's how they got their name.
All right. It will be necessary that I present the false document, since it would most likely come from me. It does not make sense that any of the rest of you would have the knowledge of the other manuscripts or the ability to procure them in a way that would make sense. So I must procure and offer the document. We also are going to need to do the exchange, and 𝐤𝐤𝐤, given your knowledge of void magic, it makes the most sense that perhaps you can either make use of illusion or make use of the ability to transfer one object from one location to another or whatever with the existing manuscripts and the false manuscripts that I have drafted.
I may be able to do something of the like.
If 𝐿𝐷𝐼r is distracting 𝐼𝐸 with drink, 𝐸𝐶𝐿, I'm afraid I don't know what your role would be in this.
He's gonna find the friend.
Ah, yes, the friend. So, getting
Jeremiah?
the friend...
What was his name? Janarin?
Jeranin.
Jaren.
Like synonym, but Jeranin.
Do we need him at this point?
Yeah, he's our way to get to the manuscripts.
Perhaps to vouch for us.
Okay.
So
well, I figured if you were turning them in, they'd have you take you up there to do that, or even if you offered to be the ones to burn them or something.
The fewer eyes on us when the exchange occurs, the better. My biggest concern trying to do this when they are ready to burn the actual documents means that there will be the eyes of every Stygian attending the festival watching, which makes it that much more difficult for 𝐤𝐤𝐤 to make the exchange.
Right. We need to find them shortly before that event.
So
tomorrow morning, then.
So if 𝐸𝐶𝐿 can get the ear of Jeranin and convince him that I am wanting to provide a document, and then Jeranin is vouching on our behalf that this is the case, just more working towards the same goal, perhaps.
So, to look at a timeline here, if we do the switch in the morning, any time between then and when 𝐿𝐷𝐼r finds 𝐸𝐷𝐼, he could check to see if those are fakes, or check on the documents. So, my vote would be to have 𝐿𝐷𝐼r catch that guy around noon, and about the same time, the rest of us approach the other guy to go do the swap.
I agree. Enough time for 𝐸𝐷𝐼 to have perhaps already had a few drinks himself and be willing to participate in some lively drinking with our dignified emissary from Ispalini. Perhaps it will work in our favor.
Do I know anything about his past? I know he's a healer, and I know he has no family, real big family name, anything like that. But he's old, obviously, which means at some point we worship the same god. When did he switch? Do we know that?
With the rise of the ninth would be about the time that he switched.
He moved over.
Yeah, just about 4 years ago. Is that right? Let me look it up again.
And as a sacred magic user, that caused no qualms.
Remember that magic in terms of sacred and cleric stuff doesn't necessarily
That's true,
fit.
yeah.
All magic is supposed to come through the same person.
Okay.
But the argument that comes from the Ninth Council is that that you guys' magic doesn't come from Arhina, it comes from Volos.
Right. Okay.
But it would have been 1307, so 9 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, is there any particular way you want me to challenge?
In a friendly way?
Well, I mean, it just seems like me walking up randomly to him, like, "Hey, let's go drink."
I don't. Is there social etiquette around this, Joshua, that would make sense for? Are there any like activities that involve drinking? Like, what's
There is at the celebration in the evening where everyone's gathered at, like, a lot of this that I'm trying to wrap my mind around is like the day, of course, is like there's celebration of Parandan that's taking place throughout the day. So like the entire day is like preparations and building wreaths and setting up like the event space where the party's going on and kind of hustling about and getting things together so that as the sun starts to go down, the bonfires are being lit, the drinks coming out, and everyone starts like enjoying the festivities of the evening and partying into the night. So that
timeline would have been helpful when we started planning.
I apologize. So I'm like, the chances of me like grabbing him on the street, be like, let's go drink. He's gonna be like, I'll drink tonight. I'll see you at the party. Like I don't see him just being like, all right, we'll hold arms and go skipping down to the pub.
That's what I was kind of.
Yeah, that makes me.
Like,
I more envisioned where it's like most of the stuff is already set up and like the entire day was filled with feasting and drinking,
morning to night.
And
just party
games and everybody's doing all kinds of stuff, but
which I think there is some of that stuff during the day. Is just most of it, like the actual burning of the stuff and the like full festivities will happen in the evening time.
So when do we think we'll actually have access to do the exchange for the manuscripts then, based on that timeline? Because they're being held probably in the Ninth Council chambers at the moment, right?
The Ninth Council doesn't have a chamber. That's you guys' issue. The Temple of Wolos hasn't been built. It's being built.
Right.
And so their temple is an outside space with a monument that they kind of hold their services out by the coastline, outside the city walls, which is where the stuff is being held at. So the actual manuscripts, which you guys would know if you go and talk to your friend or whatever, he would eventually tell you that they're being held by individuals. There's 3 different individuals that are each holding one of the manuscripts for the evening celebration, which are each one of those individuals are part of the ninth.
Is that chick we met in the pub one of them?
Yeah,
probably.
𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞 holds one, 𝐴ndrei holds one, and 𝐾𝐨 Benjamin holds one.
So the Archon's son.
Mm-hmm.
And who was the second one?
𝐴ndrei, who can read it, and then 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞.
Oh, the old man has one.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
I know we're kind of jumping all over the place here, but I want to make sure we have some fun here. But it is those 3 are each holding one of the manuscripts.
Well,
Okay,
if we drink
new
it underneath the table, we might be able to exchange it with him.
Well,
then.
luckily we have 4, count them, 4 vials of poison.
Let's just kill half the Ninth Council.
It solves a lot of problems.
That's less than
we're not
half,
allowed to
technically.
do that.
And then your mom interjects. No!
Can't kill anybody.
If they're all dead, there's not a problem.
I wouldn't think so.
She's willing to send you out and die, but we can't kill anyone on the council.
Right.
I guess with that new information, 𝐸𝐶𝐭 will suggest a change of plans. We talked to Jarenim in the morning, find out the ninth's timetable and basically let him know, we have something we'd like to offer to the burning, or Dawn does. Get a little bit better idea of a timeline in which they're supposed to be there. Because the burning obviously takes place after dark. I assume they'll be there at dusk when stuff starts. And then the plan goes off as it would have prior.
Yeah, the problem is the chick is a void specialist as well. She's going to notice any
She does.
illusion
She
magic
is.
I do.
So
Assuming she's in the area.
At some point, they're all going to have to come together, though, for the scrolls to be put in the fire, right? Or are they going to each drop it in?
The idea is that each of them will drop one in, but just to be clear, anyone can sense your void magic, not just void magic users, Greg. All magic users can sense all types of magic, just only certain ones have access to certain magic. Like when you used void magic in the pub, everyone rolled a thing to notice if you were using it.
Okay, but do they notice that it's magic, or do they notice specifically that it's void magic?
But they know what magic it is.
Oh, okay.
Now, but to be clear, all we're using the void magic is for swapping the scrolls. We're not making illusionary versions of scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
So,
How much mana is that going to cost me to transposition 2 items?
That's a good question. I guess it depends on how well you roll.
Okay, so
That's not good.
we know that Andrzej has a drinking problem, so we can assume that we can probably do the swap at some point once we get him drunk. What do we know about the other two? Do we know anything about the other two in terms of ways that we can approach them, weaknesses, habits, things like that, that would also give us the opportunity? Do we need rolls for that?
I say, do we need to fast forward to the next day and we're talking to Jerem? Jerem.
What
Well, I just
weaknesses
don't know if we
do
need-
other members of the Ninth Council have, Jeremy?
Jerem.
Let me see. We could fast forward if you guys wanted to.
Well, my only problem is if we fast forward and then it's like, oh, we already knew this information and we need to do something the night. I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, there's a lot
just
more
wanna
going
point
on now
out-
than I realized. I was envisioning like the 3 scrolls in a room, like on a table,
Yeah, that's
waiting,
the way I would
waiting,
see it.
waiting
Yeah.
to be like brought in to be burned. I didn't realize that they were being kept by 3 separate individuals.
Which
One thing-
makes sense if you were wanting to, keep them safe.
Yeah.
I planned on telling you this when you guys talked to your friend. It's just we haven't gotten there yet.
I really don't want to rush the planning too much
Sure.
if we don't have to. Especially since it's changed like 3 times.
Kel is. I mean, if you guys talk to Jared and him, Kel will he'll tell you that Kel's overly competitive. Since can sometimes lower his awareness of what's going on around him. As for Karina, she has trust issues.
So, what if she was approached? Because she's not able to read the scroll, correct?
Correct.
I'm just wondering if there'd be a way to convince her that, like the scroll she has isn't real, and we didn't want, or you're trying to look out for her because otherwise it may look bad on her if she was duped by a fake, in a sense.
If she has trust issues, I doubt that she'd believe us.
She also has a soft spot for her brother, who's also part of the Ninth. Those are her 2 weaknesses.
What do we
Poison
know
the
about
brother.
the brother?
How high is his constitution?
Everyone's as bad.
Yeah, everyone's as bad.
Yeah, Stuhians just have bad constitution.
Let's see. Her brother is Nemeth. feel like I should have you guys rolling for this stuff, but it's okay.
I asked.
Yeah. Roll me a thing for, at least for Jaren, and to tell you about Nemeth.
What thing do you want rolled?
So what do you want?
It's going to be a charisma.
Charisma?
Yeah, because you're trying to get it out of, I'm guessing, Jaren, and to tell you about him.
Oh, I didn't realize that was. I didn't realize we were talking to Jaren. I thought. It was
I thought all this information was coming from him whenever you guys talked to him.
No, I didn't realize we had broached that because that would require we're going to the next day, doesn't it?
There's my charisma.
Oh my god.
Jeez,
I don't even
I was
know
happy
him.
with mine.
World watching, we are fluctuating between scenes here as we're getting information from several different vantage points. So between 𝐿 and Sir Mihail, you'd be able to get out of him that he actually has a moral dilemma over the Ninth Council and the Carrion Council in shifting allegiance.
The brother or
The
Jared?
brother. The brother.
What? Kind
He
of-
has doubts about the legitimacy of the Ninth Council.
So if we go to the brother, convince him the Carrion Council's awesome, and he could go and convince the sister.
Well, if
He hasn't been able. Oh, go ahead, John.
I was gonna say, if he has doubts about it, he may not be as eager to see the manuscripts burned, and we could actually just say, hey, we don't want to see that manuscript burned. We've prepared one to burn instead, so we can keep the original until we know the truth of the matter, and all of this can be settled later, and we don't take any rash actions. You just need to convince your sister that the one she has isn't real or whatever, and kind of give him the opportunity to do the swap.
Do you think we can trust him enough for that?
I don't. At this point, it's the night of. It's 2 a.m. and we're trying to figure out what the hell we can do because we don't have any plans.
Plans
Or
keep
it's-
changing.
Or it's 10 a.m. I don't really know. And we're talking to Jaren in the tavern. I don't. We're
kind of bouncing back and forth. Apparently.
Schrodinger's plan right now. We're both here and there, and neither one.
I forgot to tell you I have a TARDIS, so we've just been. I mean, I got my part down. I'm just supposed to drink with some guy.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, we'll give you the scroll to swap, or we'll have somebody near at hand to help you with the swap whenever that's time. That's easy enough.
So in the summary, the alleged plan that I'm hearing, which we may just fast forward some things to get where we need to be at, but the alleged plan from what I'm hearing is that 𝐿 is going to try to outdrink Andre at the actual event, and then be able to swap the scroll on his body. We're going to have potentially you guys talking to Nemeth to get close to his sister and swap the scroll to protect the knowledge until you guys figure out exactly how things are going to transpire, and hope that you're able to trust him. And then thirdly, have somebody essentially challenge Kel into a back and forth of some sort of competition so that you can distract him enough to be able to swap the scroll that's on his person, but having all three of those take place at the event before the actual burning. Okay. And then in addition, using some of the scrolls that you are bringing along with you to kind of ease everyone's tensions and showing them when you come to the thing and saying, hey, we brought these in good faith, so that you're not suspected.
Yeah, the original thought for bringing the scroll was the idea of, again, I thought that all the scrolls were like in a room.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, bring us into the room. I'm going to put down this scroll with the others. And then swap at the same time. It was an access thing. But if we're at the actual event, I mean, we can give somebody a scroll if we need to. Maybe that's like our oh shit card that we play at some point when people are like, you're trying to do something shady. And we go, ah ha ha ha, and we pull something out and give it to them. But I, as far as the challenge thing, I don't know. Does somebody want to challenge him to like naked pudding wrestling or something? So he puts
what kind of skills
scroll off to the side. And
it depends on how drunk 𝐿 is. He might be able to do naked pudding recipe, but
I'm just thinking that way he's taking off all of his stuff. He has to leave the scroll in his pile of dirty clothes. and we just go swappa. And
So we go
manage to
hire
get-
some ladies of the evening for him.
No. One of us. Who wants to strip down and wrestle with him naked in some pudding?
Ladies of the evening
Not
is
it.
not a occupation within life.
But naked pudding wrestling is.
Apparently.
Yeah, he didn't say anything about it not being there, so...
So with
They don't
Kel,
have milk. They can't make pudding out of water.
that's true. Yeah, there wouldn't be any pudding.
They have goat
So,
milk.
gravy. White gravy.
Oh god.
Nope. Nasty gravy.
Okay, so
I make my pudding with gravy.
what kind of competitions would Kel be a part of?
I say, do any of us know Kel well enough to know anything like that?
And what kind of games are taking place at the festival that potentially involve competition?
There's things like axe throwing and drinking and coin tossing and kind of just generic festival types of games. I mean, you guys can think of something creative and it probably exists there. But there's a number of different things of that.
Pudding
matter.
wrestling.
That's a bit too creative, but
We've taken that creative license a bit far.
I mean, they'll also have things that are, where it's not a lot of mana. They'll do things where they're like using air or sky magic to like push things off, like coins off of little tiny platforms or stuff, or trying to like flip coins and using air to balance them. There's dice games. There's all sorts of stuff along those lines.
Every year, 5 people die because they get addicted to the games and they just use all their mana to.
Age themselves. Typically, the ones that are drinking too much.
Gary, you look like you're 87. Quit it.
But I want the big bear.
I wonder if the free air item, free sky magic item, would be useful in that regard.
Yeah, but I think that is that the one you drink out of?
No.
No, that's like a
No.
rock you keep in your pocket or something.
Yeah, it is. It's a rock you keep in your
It's a
pocket.
fancy rock you keep in your pocket that gives you special air magic.
It also
It makes
Is
improves
that a
your
rock in your
constitution.
pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Jeez. Okay, so we can. Who is actually skilled at? I guess we don't have to win against this guy. We just need to.
Correct.
It is
Keep him
close up.
busy.
Yeah.
Alright, we're
Strict
going with
axe
Honey
throwing.
Pot, guys.
I'm sure he has a hole he needs filled.
All right, somebody summarize your plan, and then we will.
We
call
don't
it.
have one yet.
I think
We don't have one.
I'm
I think
drinking.
you summarized it. 𝐿 is drinking with 𝐿𝐥𝐤𝐤. The plan with the girl and her brother is terrible, but I can't think of anything else. If anybody has anything. And then in some way we're going to challenge What's-His-Face to a competition that somehow is supposed to provide an opportunity to swap the scroll. Though I don't think any of us are clear how that's actually going to work. Does that sound about right, guys?
Yeah,
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 but I could give you all each a bottle of poison in case it goes wrong.
I don't know what
I
I'm
think
doing.
we should all carry some poison, just in case.
I don't know what I'm doing either. The only one with a solid plan here is 𝐿𝐿 and the
𝐿𝐿.
drinking.
I have charisma as a prime stat, so I might be able to convince the guy to go against the Ninth Council to help us out.
Good.
Sister?
I don't have that, so I have no chance.
Like, I figured as a military general, charisma would be a good prime stat to have, and I figured no one else would have it anyway.
Good
I mean-
for you.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, Dex I have as a prime stat, which might allow me to participate in some kind of challenge with What's-His-Face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm decent at Dex. I'm not great, but I'm decent, so I might be able to do something there.
Which means that 𝐸𝐸 is using some ability to swap it with him while you're challenging him. So you guys are going to double team the brother, or double team Kel. And then you have 𝐸𝐿 on the old man, and you have 𝐸𝐿 going
Hitting with the
after-
brother to get
going
the sister.
going after the brother and sister.
They all have holes in their
I think
hearts.
so.
Only one
Everybody
thing
has
about
all
my
the
plan
film.
now that might be... I'm just imagining if we're both drunk and me trying to switch out the scroll like, I'm being sneaky!
Ideally, the giant can hold his liquor.
I don't know. I mean, do all of these things have to happen simultaneously? I would imagine there might be a 15-minute break between a couple of them that allow us to do more than one thing at a time.
I think so.
Or allow more than one person to assist. So,
Yeah.
like...
Well, I feel like how we're doing it, we could do these at different parts of the entire day.
Yeah, yours, for instance, could be done at any point during the day.
Right.
I figure
Yeah.
mine needs to probably be done closer to the ceremony, because if we want
Right.
him...
Yeah,
So,
the
yeah.
drinking stuff would be in the
Yeah, so Mihail's can be done at any point in the day. Eretmir's is probably going to be done last, and that means that mine will be done sometime in the middle once the festivities have started, and it would be appropriate to go in and play a game.
things are in full swing.
But that means that I think for the most part, all of us should be able to support the rest of the group in every endeavor, hopefully.
Yeah,
Okay,
as needed.
I think we have a plan.
Jeez,
All right.
Vaguely.
we'll see.
Well, we will pick that up then again next week and see what happens. We will start with the festival and you guys starting that day off to, I guess, hopefully see this all come to succession.
Good place to start.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild week next week. So I hope you guys all join us here on Dungeon Brew as we dive in next week. Thank you guys again for hanging out on the 9th Ascension, and we will see you on the short rest. Hit like, hit subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
In the realm of 𝐸𝐸𝐸, nestled within the expansive tapestry of thrice 9 lands, the Gilded Age is coming to an end. In the coastal city of the 𝐤𝐤𝐸𝐸, ageless 𝐩𝐤𝐤𝐸𝐸, devout to the frozen wych, harness the power to wield the same energy that stitches together reality. Yet winds of change whisper the name of Volos, the Horned God. The 9th Council rises, and our heroes, staunch Carrion loyalists, embark on expeditions to safeguard 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐸𝐸 history while defending against their wicked enemies. The celestial dance of Marhina's worshippers is disrupted by the growing shadow of Volos, and the imminent clash between the Carrion and 9th Councils threatens to reshape the very fabric of 𝐸𝐸𝐸. Amidst this turmoil, our heroes navigate treacherous landscapes, from the frozen wastes where dragons roam to the hidden conclaves of the bloodthirsty skin switches. Each expedition reveals fragments of a forgotten past, hidden truths, and the intricate connections between 𝐥𝐤𝐸𝐸𝐸 magic and the divine realms. As the 𝐥𝐤𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸 grapple with the choice between allegiance to Marhina or Volos, loyalty becomes a precious commodity. Our Carrion heroes, entrusted with preserving 𝐥𝐤𝐸𝐸𝐸 heritage, face moral dilemmas, forge unlikely alliances, and confront the shadows that lurk within their own ranks. The world of 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸 awaits, a canvas painted with hues of enchantment and conflict. Will our heroes unravel the secrets that bind thrice 9 lands, or will they succumb to the inevitable tide of a revolution? Brace yourself for an epic, episodic tale, where every choice resonates across the realms, shaping the destiny of 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸 itself.